If anybody knows that I was sent some chocolates a couple weeks
Ooh,
ago, and you know
yeah.
what? That was a big box of chocolates, and this is all that's left.
You didn't
Not
share it with us.
well, I shared it with you in spirit. Let me tell you.
Okay.
So, so what we're going to do today, very simple project, really fun. It's a kind of a classic. It's a traditional box called the star box. But what I like to do is a little something different to it because the flaps are fun if you want to decorate them. But sometimes I kind of find that, let me make sure it's recording. Yeah, we're good. Sometimes I find that they're in the way, but it's a really neat box. This is from an 11.5 inch square, that size. Um, this size is a 6 inch square. So you can see, here's a chocolate, it'll fit one chocolate or several jelly beans. Like if you want to do an Easter thing, wouldn't that be fun to just do a little Easter treat box without having too many calories? Because let me tell you, when I have chocolates in front of me, I eat them. So, and this is the same thing. This is out of a larger sheet. So I'm going to show you how to fold this box, and of course you can make it with the flaps or the star, these little parts coming out or not. And I'll show you how to do it. Now, the only thing I used is I prefer double-sided paper because you do have a lot of white showing, or, the double-sided feature. So this would be the color side, and this is what would be white. So if you have double-sided, if you don't, that's okay, just so you can know the fold. This is a large, I think I have this as a 12 by 12 piece. Somebody's coming in. Let me just say hello. So this is a large scrapbook sheet. I think I cut it to 11 inches by 11 inches. And I'll say hello there. Nice to see you. I'm glad you're here. I'm just going to get started, and then we'll open up things. If everybody mutes for now so I can record this. Then after I've recorded the instruction, of course, we can open up and we can, of course, talk later, and just after I finish the instruction part. So we just need a 6 inch square is the little box. So just 6 inch size. If you want any square, any square. So if you want to go big or go little, that's quite okay. So I'm going to start with this one. Actually, you know what? That's kind of hard to teach that because it won't hurt. I'm just going to start with this one. But I can fold it a couple times for you so that you know. And we have somebody else, I think. Welcome. I'm getting started. So today we're going to cut the class off a little shorter because there is an event happening right afterwards, and I want to give everybody time to hop onto that event. It's the talent showcase that E3 has put together, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So prepare to have some fun. And I think what I'll start with, I'm going to do it with the big paper because I think we need to just start with the big. So if you've folded the crane before, this is kind of similar in the way it starts. And so what I'm going to do is start with my color side down. So if you have a pattern on one side, please start it down on the table. And you're going to do a basic crane base. And it's just a simple a base. And what we're going to do is we're going to fold it in half. In one direction. And then when you unfold it, I'm just going to get everybody muted here. So fold it in half, open it up, turn the paper. So you have your fold is going in this direction. And now fold it in half again. So now you have two valley folds going horizontally and vertically. Now you flip it over, and you're going to fold point to point or corner to corner. You're going to fold it in half in both directions. So I'm folding the paper in half like a corner. This is a diaper fold, called a diaper fold. We're going to open it up. We're going to turn it, and we're going to fold it in half in the other direction. So now we have the bird base. It's almost done. So what we have now are two valley folds going in the diagonal direction and two mountain folds going they're mountains, so they're coming towards you. These folds are going away from you. That's really important before you do the next step. What I usually do is I take the paper and I pop I just kind of push the center so that everything pops up. And what I get is I have these mountain folds, and this is a huge piece of paper. I'm going to collapse all these folds, and I'm not creating any new folds. I'm just collapsing it into a square with 2 flaps on either side, basically 2 flaps on either side. So you have a square shape going on with your flaps on each side. That's how the crane starts. And we're going to do the next thing. We're going to also do kind of what the crane asks for. We're going to take, so you have, if you're here with me on this, we're going to take these folds and we're just taking the first layer. I'm going to fold that to the center crease, right at an angle. So it's kind of like half of a kite. And we're going to fold the right side to the center, just like we did the left side, and just make a nice, kind of a kite shape. Flip it over and do the same thing on the other side, exactly the same way. We're folding the left side, and this is a pretty thick paper, so it's not as easy to fold. So, but it still is nice for a box. We're making the last fold on this part is to fold this right side to the center. Just kind of make sure it kind of matches that side. So now this is where you would see with the crane, we would open it up and create the crane, but now we're going to move on to our box. And what we're doing is I'm going to start with this flap and I'm going to open it with my fingers. So I've got my finger just kind of opens it up. And I'm going to take the mountain fold that's right here. I'm going to just lay it right on top of this kind of angled fold. And then I'm just going to press it flat. So you see I've got this nice little angled thing going here. I'm going to do the same thing on the right side. I'm just going to put my finger inside and I'm just going to kind of push it down so that I don't know if you can see it because I'm noticing my camera, it's a little dark, but hopefully you can see it. I'm just going to push that down right on top of this fold that goes here. So I've got those two going. So it should look like that. I'm going to flip it over and do the same thing on this side. I'm going to open up my little flap and I'm going to push my finger into the little opening here. It looks like a little pocket. And then I'm just going to push it down and lay it right. That crease just lines up with this fold on this side. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm opening it up, put my finger inside and flattening it so that it kind of just lays right on there. So that is that. So now what you have is you need to take these flaps. So if I see this flap here, I'm going to fold just this flap backwards, like a mountain fold, just backwards. And then you can do it different ways, but I'm just going to fold it back all the way to that crease. So basically I'm just hiding it. So you can see I have folded this like a mountain fold backwards. I'm going to do the same thing on this flap. I'm going to take that piece, that part here, I'm just folding it backwards and it just all the way so that it just kind of, sometimes it's just best to open it up and kind of get that paper so that it meets this crease right here. Okay, so now I've got that one, that side's done. Okay, that is done. So it should just look like that. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm turning it over and now I have this flap just needs to go back. I need to fold it backwards. So I'm just going to open it up and take this flap and bring it behind. And now I've got a thick piece of paper. Everything's kind of thick, but I'm able to fold that backwards. I'm just going to make that crease and then fold it on itself here. Same thing with this side. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm opening it up and I'm just going to fold it. And I'm not making a new crease at all. I'm just folding that backwards. And I'm hoping that's actually, the box is really finished. I just have to open it up at this point. There's a couple, you'll be seeing when you're looking at it, you've got these little flaps. And if you turn the pages, all the flaps will be the same, or these little star points. These are the parts of the box. So it doesn't matter how you open it, but it's all the same. But you want the 2 flaps on either side. And now we're ready to open it up just about. Now the last step really to just kind of form the box is I'm going to fold right where this point, these edges are. I'm just going to fold it, and it's pretty thick, but just kind of fold that right at that intersection right there, and kind of give it a nice crease, and maybe do it on both sides just to kind of so that it remembers where you folded it. Okay, so now we're ready to open the box. So how we do it is we just take the box, take those little flaps, those pointed flaps, which are really the handles, and I'm just going to open it up, and I'm going to use my hands. I'm going to go inside the box, and I'm going to form it. I'm going to push with my fingers without letting anything fall apart. I'm going to push with my fingers. I'm going to open up that bottom of the box, and because this is soft paper, it kind of wants to go where it wants to go. But you'll notice when you're opening yours with the crisper paper, it's not going to do that. Mine probably should be glued. So I'm just going to fold these little guys down like this. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put everything back because I know what's happening here. What would be easier for me to do, I'm just going to collapse everything back to where it was, if I can do it. I should have folded those flaps down, but I can fold this again to show you if you kind of got lost in what I was doing. So I'm just going to fold these flaps down, which would have been better if I'd done that before I opened the box. So here, so that because I'm losing where my box handles and where it just wants to open because of the paper is so soft. So I'm going to do another box with the crisper paper. But here's the box. So it's there. But I need to glue the flaps down like I did with this one. The way I do it is I take it and I can either fold these flaps basically down to any configuration I want. I can leave the flaps long. And what I do is I just take a little white glue just on the tip and this part here. And what I'm doing is I'm just going to close it up. And I'm just going to kind of hold it a little bit. And that will hold it. So if you have white paper, white side, that would be a nice side to put maybe some words on, like I did with this one. But the box is already, it's pretty simple box. I'll just have to maybe clamp that. But you can either leave it open like this, or you can close the sides up. So I'm going to do it again on a smaller piece. All right. So I'm going to go up to the point where where you get to the square, because that, I think you all got that pretty quick. So I'm going to just fold it in half. And then I'm going to unfold it. And this will be my pattern side down. So you want to start with your pattern side down, unless you want your star to have the pattern be the dominant. So just in case. It's just all up to you how you want to do that. I'm going to turn it and fold it in half in the opposite direction. And I'm going to flip it over so that these folds are facing toward me. These are mountain folds. I want those facing. You want those facing you. And the next fold will be a diagonal fold that we will go right in half. Just fold it point to point in both directions. Open it up and fold it in both directions. Okay. So this is where I think most of you were able to get. Okay, so now I'm going to see, there's a valley. As I open it up, there's a valley, like a valley down here. I want to reverse that to be a mountain. So how I do that is I just put my finger and I pop it up. You can feel it. It goes pop, especially on crisp papers. You'll feel that. That's like a really easy, it's just a nice, accurate way to get this base, because there's other ways that diagrams show you, and it just doesn't work as nicely as this. So now I have these folds, and it looks just like this. It should look this way. And now all I'm doing is I'm going to bring it all together by bringing basically, if you visualize it, I'm going to bring all these points, I'm going to bring them all together. So I can actually just take my hands and just collapse it. I'm not creating new folds. I'm actually just collapsing it into a square with two flaps on either side. Now that's where some of us got lost. It's really important, and maybe I didn't express this because I was kind of going through it fast. When we're doing the next steps, we want to fold. Let's start our folds. I've got glue on my fingers. Okay. Start our folds. You have an open side and you have a closed side.
Mm-hmm.
When you're doing your folds, these folds, that when we bring these little corners to the center, you want to have that fold toward, or the open edge towards you. So we're going to fold with the closed edge away from us and the open edge toward us. And now I'm going to take my left open, this flap, it's just one layer, you can see it. I'm going to fold it to the center on both sides. We're just going to do this on both sides. Okay, so you have a kite kind of thing going. And I'm going to take this glue off my finger because it's driving me crazy. There we go. And now I'm going to turn it over, and you'll have to do the same thing. Just repeat what you just did. Fold the left side, that little left edge, and then fold the right edge to the center. So now we have a really, just like a little kite shape. This is where we change course. We don't, if we do the crane, we would do something else. But what I want you to do, which I've never done, this I did the last time and it worked really well, is we're going to fold this kind of top, right at this where these folded edges are here. I want to fold this down in both directions. And that's just kind of going to help us when we open up the
I did
box.
backwards again.
I'm sorry, what?
I did it backwards again.
Oh, so you have the open edge up here?
Yeah. So
Oh, okay. So that's why, yeah. So if you can reverse
first
that.
one came out, but
Yeah. So that's why I wanted to emphasize that you needed to do those folds, that the open edge is down here and the closed edge is up here. So you'll know if you're in the right track, if your closed edge is up here. So now that we've done this, we've folded it back and forth a couple of times. We're going to take our fingers and insert them in the left flat, in the left. Just open this up and get your fingers inside that like a pocket. And you're going to just run your finger up just along that crease. And as far as it'll go, you'll take your finger and then you're just going to help with the other finger. Just flatten it with the folds will just match up. You know, the crease lines will match up. You're going to do that on both sides. And that's a squash fold. It's called a squash fold because we open it up, we squash it. And that is how we do that. So let's do that on the other side, the same thing. I'm going to open this up. I'm going to repeat the same move on these two. Just got to open it up with my fingers. I just take my finger, move it in, and squash. Make it flat, and do the same thing on the opposite side. Now, the next step after we do this is where I'm going to try to go really, really slow too, because I know, Leah, that's kind of where you got stuck. So let me try to really slow this down, like really slow. So what we have, if you just kind of imagine, we've got this point here. See this free point? If you take your finger and just kind of lift it, you'll see you see that point. It's free. It's like flapping. Well, I want to take, this is attached to that free point. You see this, if you kind of hinge it on as a book page, if you're able to visualize that, I'm going to take this half and I'm going to fold it backwards. I'm just going to fold this backwards. Okay. So that it basically gets hidden behind that point. So now there it is. It's hidden. If you can, does that make more sense to you, Leah?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. I'm going to do it 3 more times. So I'm just going to straighten out my fold here. Got a little wayward point. It's not that pointy. So I'm just going to kind of move it. There we go. Okay. So now I'm going to do the same thing on the right side. I've got a flap that I can turn. It pivots right here on this center crease. So I know that's the one I'm going to work on. And I'm just going to take this and I'm going to not make new creases. I'm just folding it back on existing creases. I'm just going to hide it behind the point. So it needs to be hidden. There it's hidden. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So now we have these 2 parts here, these little mirrored images of the point, and those need to be folded back as well. So I just take it and I kind of open it up enough and I just find those creases and reverse them. And I just fold it backwards and reinforce it and it's hidden. See, it's hidden behind. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I've got that last point to hide. I'm just going to fold it and I'm going to close the book. So like I think of it as a book when I'm working this because it has pages. Okay, so now we're here. Now we're going to take this point that's now free. It's the first point. We're going to fold it down as far as it'll go. It kind of knows when to stop. Okay, and what I could do is let's pretend this is a book. Let's just kind of go through it like a book. We're going to take this and we're not going to make new creases. We're just going to fold it from right to left, and you'll see another point is right here. So I'm just going to take that. I'm going to fold that point down. The free point needs to be folded down. And if I turn my pages in here, I've got like a weird wonky edge, but I'm not going to worry about it because I'll fold that. I'm going to turn the page, but since I can't turn the page, there's nothing more to turn. I'm going to turn this whole thing over, just flip it over. And what I notice is I see a free point that I can fold down. I can fold this down, right? Just kind of let it do its thing. And now I see I have one more point left, and somebody's coming in. Regina's coming in. Okay. Well, okay. So I've got this point folded down. I have one more to go. So I am going to basically take this. I'm going to turn it so that I have my last point remaining. And you can see if I fold that down, there's no more points to fold, right? Is that where you're at, Leah? Were you able to get to that, or anyone else?
Yes.
Okay. So really now we are at the place. And welcome, Regina. We started about 40 minutes ago, but I'm glad you made it. I know we're in a totally different time zone, and we did have a time change here, so we apologize, or I do. So I'm going to open this up, and what you have is you're not going to open it up and create any new creases. I'm just going to take my hands and I'm just going to gently open up this, and I'm not creating new creases. I'm just going to gently move my fingers outward, and it should all just kind of pop together. And it's pushed as far as I move it so that it goes on that little crease we made earlier on. And now we have our star box. And you can leave it open.
Yay. Got
Did you
it.
get it this time?
Yeah, I did it.
Awesome.